And so that's the secret to the universe. Apparently we were muted. Okay, so here we are on week 13. We're doing the digestive system, and we're using the blend ANS support. And ANS support stands for autonomic nervous system, which is basically our involuntary part of our nervous system, the part that runs all the processes without us thinking about it. It's just quietly doing its job without us thinking, right? And so with that, a lot of this is tied to more of the quality of a particular part of your nervous system, especially the balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic part of your nervous system, which is fight, flight, and activity versus rest, repair, and digest. And so, in the West, we think very symptom oriented. We don't look at the state of the body. We don't look at how it's functioning. We don't look at how symptoms are generated. We see a symptom and we go, how do we eradicate this particular issue? I mean, here's a very good example. The vagus nerve is a cranial nerve that comes out from the base of your skull, and it comes down and it hits your throat, and it goes down into your chest, and it hits your heart, hits your lungs. It goes down into the digestive tract and eventually affects the urinary tract or the urinary system. And so when we look at the idea of treating the digestive system here, really what we're doing is we're treating the nerves and how they function in the gut. And not just in the gut, but even in the urinary tract, the urinary system, and also a little bit in the heart, a little bit in the respiratory tract. And one aspect that we never really think about when it comes to vagal tone is also not just the sides of your neck and your throat, but also your vocal cords. And so with all of this, all of these can throw off parts of the nervous system to where you don't start sleeping good, your body's not in repair mode, you're not digesting your food, you're breathing real shallow. There's a whole set of symptoms that goes along with this part of your nervous system not functioning well. Now, again, here we think of things as, digestive upset, irritable bowel syndrome, food sensitivities, food allergies. But if we look at it from the point of the view of the body, a lot of times this is poor functioning part of the nervous system. Just like how when you sit on your foot goes to sleep and it's hard to make it move and it kind of tingles and hurts a little bit when it starts to wake up. The same thing can happen to your gut. The issue is we don't have sensory nerves in the gut, so we don't feel that it's asleep and we don't feel that it's not functioning well. We just feel bloating, or we just feel, irregular bowel movements, or we have a little bit of discomfort, a little pain. When we eat our food, we might feel a little weird or a little funny. And yes, that is the digestive system. And this could even be applied, this protocol, to the urinary tract. Um, it's still a reflection on the function of the nervous system. And if the nerves aren't firing like they should in the gut, we're prone to the food sensitivities, we're prone to allergies, we're prone to IBS. And so again, we're not looking at it from the point of view of just trying to eradicate a symptom. We're trying to recondition the body to function better. And when we have that kind of symptom-oriented approach, we kind of have it in mind of like, oh, we got to get it back to the way it was, which also implies that that's not going to heal. Healing is movement. Healing is like a process. Healing is evolving as it's interacting with the environment and how we age and the wear and tear in our body and how much sleep we're getting, it's either evolving or de-evolving, right? Sliding backwards. And so, this is a perfect example of there's times where you just have to say, let's set aside the symptom that might be in my face and treat the state of the body. Let's see where the body's at, get it functioning better. And then as it functions better, either the symptom begins to diminish or it becomes much easier to treat, especially when you have something that's not responding to normal treatment. That is almost always a neurological issue. Like it almost always is. There's some glitch in the nervous system somewhere, and the thing with that is it also will affect the emotional body, it will affect the heart, and it will affect our mental processes, right? A lot of times we think of it being the other way around, and it can be, but more times than not, our physiology is impacting how we think about things in ways that we don't even realize, right? If you think of just like having the monkey mind or having chatter in your mind, and then we go through and we do some of our processes where we calm the body down, and all of a sudden your mind goes quiet. That chatter was not your brain, it was your brain listening to your body. Like the chatter was what it was hearing, right? And so we think of it as being a symptom of, oh, gotta address this in my mind, gotta address this in my brain, right? So I always find like this one in particular, this is a bread and butter, like everybody should be doing this one. Even if you haven't done all of the other ones, this is one of the ones to do just for maintaining health, preventing health issues, helping your body feel better, even deepening your meditation, because even your meditation, your ability to activate the heart is tied a lot to your nervous system and your neurological processes, not just the autonomic nervous system, but a lot of other parts of the nervous system. And so, in deeper mystical practices, you know, whenever you want to have a deeper inner state, some deep mystical experience, it's almost like you go to the body as the altar and you work that area of the body that will produce the inner experience, right? And so let's do a deeper dive here on the digestive system. So you can see there's a big list of things that this is good for, different conditions. And we're going to jump right in and do the standard approach right off the bat. So you're checking in with how you feel. You're checking in with your emotions, your thoughts, the tension in your body. I would say sometimes even when you do this process, you might even notice a shift in your jaw or in your face. Not always. Okay, so you're inhaling. Your awareness is on the left side of your body, the whole left side. Left side of your face, all the way down to the ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths, and you're moving your awareness to the front side of your body, from your face all the way down to the tops of your feet, your face and throat, your chest, your abdomen, down your legs to the tops of your feet. And taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Move your awareness to the right side of your body. From the right side of your face all the way down to the right outer ankle. In nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The back side of the body. The whole back side. From the back of your head and neck, your whole back, your hips, all the way down to your heels. And then just pause and be still. Notice how you feel, your body, your thoughts. Now, that was the standard approach. That's your everyday kind of process. That's things that you would, or a process that you would integrate with other things that you're doing. Like say you're doing, a whole digestive process, you could integrate that. You could also do it in a stack. But now we're going to go to the advanced approach. And this is something that you might only do once or twice a week, right? So again, you're inhaling the same oil. Your awareness is on the left side of the body. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Left side of your face and neck, your shoulder, your left hip, all the way down to the left outer ankle. Taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Now go to the back side of your body, the back of your head and neck, down your whole back, your hips, all the way down to your heels. Now the right side of your body, the whole right side. Right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder and hip, all the way down to the right outer ankle. And then the front side of your body, the whole front side, your face and throat, your chest, all the way down to the tops of your feet. And then pause, be still. Now, your awareness is on your knees, either your whole knee or the back of your knee, either one. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your knees. Your awareness is on the ankles. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the ankles. Your awareness is on your ankles. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. The soles of your feet. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. And then just pause. You're being still, you're being aware. You're just being still. How's this feeling to you? Right in your gut. Okay. Your awareness is on the left side of your body. We're doing the four quadrants again. Left side of your body, left side of your face, neck, your left shoulder, all the way down to the left outer ankle. The front side of your body, the face and throat, the chest, all the way down to the tops of your feet. The right side of your body, the whole right side. Right side of your face, all the way down to the right outer ankle. And the back side of your body, the whole back side. Back of your head, neck, your back, all the way down to your heels. And then pause and let go. Just pause and let go. You're just being still. Your awareness is on the brain. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the brain. Your awareness is on your brain. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on your spine. Your brain and spine both at the same time. The brain and the soles of your feet. And as you inhale, move your awareness up above your ankles. As you exhale, move your awareness down into the earth. Inhale up, exhale down. And then just pause and let go. Just let it incubate for a moment. Now, how do you feel? Your body, your thoughts? How's your gut? How's your gut? Yeah, relaxed it. Yeah. Sometimes even the tension that's in the smooth muscle of the digestive tract will actually makes the body tighten up, produce anxiety, definitely put us in a place of like agitation or fight flight. And so even though we're treating the digestive tract, we might actually feel relief in a lot of other areas. Let's go ahead and share experiences, ask questions, process this, unmute yourself or type in.
Just a sec, guys. And let's keep it ARC program specific for now. We're doing ARC program shares and questions right now. And then I'll let you guys know when you can raise your hand for regular Q&A questions. Someone shared very relaxing.
Good.
Started off with a chatty mind and ended on no thoughts.
Oh, perfect. And no thoughts doesn't mean like sleepy. It just means, you're have a balance between the intuitive mind and the intellectual mind. And somebody said it the other day, like the mind is idling. Like you could take off and start doing something, but your mind's not just busy, even when you're trying to just sit and rest or observe, it's not going pop, 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 and a lot of that is neurological. We think of it as being our mind, but it's really the mind is listening to the body, not having all that chatter. So,
Yeah, go ahead, Denise.
hey, hey.
Let's get you unmuted.
I did it again. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask about the ANS. Is it anise that's in it? And
Anise, rosemary, and tarragon. Yeah.
oh, it's wonderful. It's
Yeah, it's a very simple blend, but it actually works really well.
tarragon and
Yeah.
rosemary. And then if I still feel like I drag on that left side a lot, I have a lot of resistance, just work that side more, correct?
Yeah, just work it a little bit more. If see you're saying on your left side.
Mhm.
Um, we were going to talk about this maybe a little bit later and like a deeper dive in the Auric program when we start, talking about it again. And I can't remember when we have it on the schedule. It might be in May, where we're going to do a weekend, May or June, I can't remember. But the ways of taking this process a little bit deeper. And if you're having an issue like on the left side, put
Yes.
your awareness on the left side and then let it go for a moment, like do your normal breathing cycles and then let it go. And then for the left side, you put your awareness on the spleen and then inhale the oil a little bit on the spleen and then let it go. And then go back to the left side. And then the second time around, keep your awareness on the left side and the spleen at the same time. And when you go through and you do that, it's a much deeper release because that is the thing is like, our aura is going to have sections that are going to be really, and there's areas that's going to be nice and bright and fluffy. And it's not always like, oh, it's just the front or just the back. There's like odd places in the aura. That's why when we do this, I don't go just visualize a ball and inhale this. It's like, no, let's search it, segment by segment, left side, front, right side, back. Because even like if you try to visualize like a ball, or even when people are doing energy healing, they'll do the front, they'll do the back, they don't really do the sides. They'll touch it a little bit, but it leaves a whole bunch of energy untouched in that field. And when you start going deeper into things that are in the unconscious, and we think of the unconscious as just being like maybe deep thoughts or deep feelings or repressed thoughts or repressed feelings. But you could even say the autonomic nervous system is also tied to the unconscious. So in the body, we could have trauma that's locked into the body that's really in the nervous system, not the emotional or mental body. And part of what you're unwinding as you go through and work the autonomic nervous system, which is fight, flight, and rest and repair, is yes, you're hitting the unconscious, but some of the unconscious is that involuntary part of your nervous system having trauma locked into it. So it's hard to shift it out of, fight, flight, and in some areas in the body. Usually some areas will shift and some won't, and the idea of going through and looking at it from the point of view of it being a grid is you are looking for the problem spots. You do that even like when you work on the brain or you work on the physical heart, like energetically. You don't just go, oh, whole side of the brain. When you're really doing deeper work, you go, okay, where's these little like spikes or like blockages that are coming out? And you kind of have to start going like a search grid and looking for all these little weird indentations and things that are bulging out. And both the brain and especially the heart, you'll have like these weird little sections that'll just have like big blockages sticking out. If you treat the heart, you're not going to see it. But if you start looking at all the little pieces, you go, look at that piece there. And that is an area where, it's usually neurological. It could be other things too, but it's usually neurological. Like there's some bundle of nerves or some nerve is not functioning or innervating correctly, or, it's inflamed, whatever it is. And so when you have something like that in a part of your aura, you keep doubling down on it, but know, in releasing things like trauma from the unconscious, which is another way of saying also the autonomic nervous system, you are going to have these weird things bulging out from different pieces of the aura. And, when we started doing the auric programming right off the bat, we're just trying to get the idea of the programming and getting used to do it. But as you keep going deeper and deeper, there's still a lot to unpack in the aura and the auric programs. And so you're starting to feel like, okay, all this stuff is fluffing up, but what's this? Right? And the more that you address that, the more that it's actually going to impact your health. Like it will improve your health. And so try doing more work, even if it's just times where you sit down and you just work the left side. And then, do like I said, like left side and then spleen, and then left side and then spleen, together. And then just cycle through it again and then give it a once around just to kind of flesh everything out. But try doing that.
Thank you. That's excellent. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Preet, then Robert.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Earlier, so when you began the class tonight, you said that when something is resisting healing, it's typically a neurological problem.
Oh yeah, it's almost always neurological. I mean, people can have stuff in their heads, don't get me wrong, but even that is usually still maybe not 100% neurological, but it's partially neurological. But if you think about like we think of trauma a lot of times as like being in the emotional body and their mental body, and we think of an event or a person or a series of situations, times of stress or whatever. But from the point of view of the body is very simple. And the idea of trauma for the body is just what it had to do to get through whatever that was. And a lot of times, because it had to adjust and adapt to whatever it might be. I mean, sometimes it's, you got caught in a storm or you had insomnia for a couple of weeks, or it's not always that jerk at work or that event, but definitely car accidents, falling, being super sick. You could have a whole range of things that would contribute to this. And how the body sees it is very different than how our mind sees it. They're speaking two completely different languages, and so a lot of times when the body is not healing in a particular area, there's some glitch in the nervous system. And we look at it from the point of view of treating a symptom, but really it's a functional thing. It's like you have to recondition parts of the body to start functioning better so that that symptom is either resolved or is much easier to retreat. You still would treat the symptom, but you want to kind of get the body and the treatment like on the same page. And I would say a lot of times it's like reconditioning the body, because the nervous system, there's this thing called the writing reflex. And it just means that when a nerve fires down a different pathway, each time it does it, it just gets easier and easier. Right. And so what happens is your body goes into like say I don't dysfunctional is not the right term, but like like say there's an injury, so the nerves start firing down a different pathway, and then you recover from the injury. Nervous system is didn't get the memo, like they're still firing down that old pathway. And so like say you had a slip and fall, your nervous system got agitated for a little bit, um, and start firing down the different pathway. And then you go, okay, I recovered. I had some bed rest. I did all these things. I'm feeling much better. Everything's functioning better, but your nervous system is still firing down that wrong pathway. Another way of saying that is trauma got locked into the nervous system. Like I literally treated this person, two different cases that I thought was very interesting. Somebody was walking down the street in like a big city. I want to say it was New York. And when they were walking, somebody was walking past them and kind of lost their footing and like kind of bumped into them. And, their body got like pushed a little bit. It wasn't bad. But their body kind of like tightened up when that person did that. And then they didn't really think anything of it. But that incident caused this whole like downward spiral in their body, because the body had to tighten up a little bit. And really what the body experienced is, I don't feel safe. I don't feel stable. Like something in the environment made me feel unstable. So the body goes then to protect the spine and then just never stops. And so it caused all kinds of issues in the body. And, if you look at it from the point of view of what happened, it really wasn't that dramatic. It's just somebody kind of lost their footing, bumped into them, and that was that. But the body perceived that is, I don't feel stable. The environment is chaotic. I don't feel safe. So let's protect the spine because we don't want to get injured. And then let's just never stop doing that, because now the nervous system has fired down in this particular way. And then another event was, there was this older couple, and they had been retired for quite a while, and they went to like a Target or something, and he ran out inside, and she goes, I'm just going to rest my eyes for a few minutes. And so she closed her eyes, and somebody just backed into their car. And the person was probably going 5 miles an hour. but her startle and her reflex was so intense that, I've probably treated maybe 500 cases of whiplash, probably one of the worst ones I've ever treated. I mean, her body just like freaked out and went into a severe fight flight response and just wreaked havoc on her body. And so any time that there's like a trauma locked in the autonomic nervous system, which is fight, flight, rest, and repair, potential for um, digestive issues, respiratory issues, cardiac issues, urinary tract issues, even things with the voice and the vocal cords can disrupt endocrine function, body tension. Like all these things can be a byproduct of these things. And uh,
So
the
healing
more,
the nervous system
yeah,
can heal a whole lot of stuff.
right, right.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. That's all very helpful, Greg.
Okay,
Satnam.
good.
And then go ahead, Robert, and then we have some questions.
Hey,
in the
Robert.
chat, too.
Hey, Greg. So I missed the earlier, I caught part of the earlier conversation of left side, then spleen, then left side, then the left side and
Mhm.
spleen together.
Mhm.
Why would you do that?
It's a deeper release in the aura. And
Okay.
she was just having like when she does the 4 quadrants, like as you guys keep doing it, you're gonna start noticing like there's something right here. Or like for her, it was like something on the left side. And so I haven't talked about the deeper release in the aura and the auric programming yet. But like I was telling her, like at first we're just practicing the aura, we're getting to know how it feels, and it's very deep the way that it is. But as you start cleaning things up, you start going, what about that? There's a little something right there. And so, again, the aura being the energetic mold or blueprint, when you start to feel spots that feel heavier or don't release, or sometimes like they almost like kind of hurt a little bit. Like you can almost, like if you tap into it, you go, I can feel that in my nervous system a little bit. It's not like ow, but it's like I feel a little weirdness in my nervous system. And so being able to go deeper and treat some of these aspects is going to be our next wave of conversations when we go deeper into the Auric program, is really starting to fine tune, like when we sense something, how to address it. And that was just an example.
Okay. So adding a little info to this conversation,
Mhm.
a lot of times it doesn't really matter whether it's auric programming or something else. I tend to yawn a lot during the practice,
Mhm.
which I take as a sign that my body's shifting.
Your
And
body is shifting, you're going into more rest and repair mode, and you're also like releasing energy. It's just, whatever it is, it's usually just releasing stagnant
yeah,
energy.
it's releasing stuff I don't really need to know about.
Right.
So when you started talking about left spleen, left and left spleen, I started yawning just by you talking about it and me feeling into the left
Right.
side.
Right.
And that's how I missed most of that conversation. I was
Right.
busy yawning.
Right.
So to me, it means I need to do more on the left side. But
Yeah, it also could just mean like, just even the idea of like talking about it and starting to explore it, it's like it goes like deeper, like and so it could be that it's your left side, or you're just already feeling like, oh, that's going to go deeper. And so I'll tell you guys so left side is the spleen, right side is the liver, front side is the kidneys, back side is the lungs.
that was my next question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Thanks.
figured you're going to ask that.
Because I
That's the
want to
computer
feel
guy,
into all
like
of them
the
and see what's
details.
going on. Yeah, that is part
Yeah.
of the mental aspect. I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, sure.
But when it was so strong without even an oil in my hand,
Yeah.
no bottle open within arm's reach, no bottle within arm's reach, believe
So,
it or not.
so I mean, I believe it because the thing that, if we're looking at like how to rework the nervous system, really like a lot of the things that we do all the time, we're kind of constantly addressing neurological issues. I don't always call it that, but even like you're putting your awareness over there and you're breathing, right? You're like focusing and you're being aware, and as you sit with it, there starts to be an expansion, right? And so even in that, for one, you're having increased awareness, and as you have increased awareness, you're decreasing the automatic behavior or the loop, because a lot of what we're calling trauma in the nervous system is these loops that just like you don't really think about it, and all of a sudden there's like a certain behavior happening or a certain response, or like when I do this, these things happen to my body. All you're saying is there's these neurological loops. When I do these things just start to take on a mind of their own and they start looping. And so even when you're just increasing your awareness on the area, your body is starting to shift out of those loops. I mean, it's the whole idea of Lama Yoga when you go, okay, where do you feel it in your body? It's not important about like, oh, did I feel it in my shoulder or whatever. All you're doing is like, okay, what do I feel? You're putting your awareness on it. And what you're doing is you're starting to unwind those loops. And in doing the Auric program over and over again, and other processes and classes, but especially in the Auric programming, you're increasing your ability to be aware of your body and your aura, which is also a bit more of awareness in the environment. And so you'll start to notice you just start putting your awareness on something and it'll start shifting. It's because you've already been training your mind to do that. And so at some point, oils might not even be necessary. You just put your attention
Yes.
on it and it starts to release. And the same when you're working energetically on other people, where you're trying to direct the plant on other people or working with energy. The more you can put your awareness on what's going on with them, the more that you're, as an outside factor, breaking that loop inside of them. And so, really, when you're looking at doing healing, you're trying to break out of those loops. You could say intellect in the mind, you could say homeostasis in the body. There's good homeostasis and bad homeostasis, I should say. And then these neurological loops that just, your body gets into this loop because of that writing reflex, and then you can't really pull out. And what starts to happen is your mind then starts to fixate on the loop. And so your mind actually starts to, I don't want to say makes it worse, but it makes it harder to pull out because then intellect gets involved and becomes a micromanager. Ugh, I gotta get rid of this. I gotta release this. I gotta get it back to the way it was. Oh, it's still bothering me. You start kind of going down that road, and it makes it harder and harder to break out of the loop. So the more that you can just go, okay, I'm gonna put my awareness on the left side of my body. I'm gonna put my awareness on the front, and you're just being aware, kind of non-specific, but you might be feeling something. You're starting to break out of those loops.
So there's a loop I noticed several years ago
Mhm.
that if I ate some deep fried food, I would then crave something sugary.
Mhm.
When I ate something sugary, I would crave deep fried food.
Yeah, there's something wired there together. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I haven't been able to break the loop. I'm more aware of it. And by being aware, I if I eat deep fried food, I will consciously not eat candy for the next 2 days, and vice versa. I try and keep them separate rather
Mhm.
than my impulse of do this, then do that, and then back and back forth and back and forth. To me, that's a digestive thing. Now, you may not see it that way, and that's
No,
okay.
that's a digestive thing. That's I would say digestive, but also neurological digestive.
Okay.
Like there's because even if you look at the physiology and the gut health and the friendly bacteria and the enzymes, still if the nervous system is not functioning right, none of that stuff is going to be in a good place anyway. Like as much as you take pro or prebiotics and do this and that, you might get it for a little bit, but it's still going to go wonky again at some point because the nerves aren't supporting the processes of that particular system. And again, there's that idea that nerves that fire together are wired together, right? So for whatever reason, why that happened, who knows? It might have been a single incident, it might have been over a period of time. Who knows? But the more that you can re-educate that nervous system as a reaction to that, the better. And so something like this is helpful. Actually, the thing that I would probably visit with something like that is nerve help. Because I mean, part of the thing with nerve help or sage by itself is it has a like a re-educating effect on the nervous system. Like when you think of regeneration in the body, there's different kinds of regeneration. There's regeneration where there's increased blood flow. And then, you could say there's a kind of neurological regeneration. And, on face value, people say, oh, like, waking nerves up or, growing nerves in a particular area. And you could say yes to like maybe waking nerves up as long as there wasn't structural damage. But really, neurological regeneration is re-educating the nerve out of the dysfunction, out of the trauma, and getting it back to where it should properly be functioning. And so, like you said, there's these two things. If one happens and then the other thing happens, yes, you can say, oh, it has to do with metabolism, it has to do with this, it has to do with the liver or the gallbladder. True, but still, all of those things without the nervous system wouldn't be doing anything. So I would go to the nervous system and go, how can I reboot the nervous system in this particular area? So, like I said, sage is good. Nerve help, that's what nerve help was made for, was to help re-educate the nerve to go back to closer to its normal functioning rather than that dysfunctional pathway that it started firing down for whatever reason, and so it might be a little more involved than that, but it's somewhere in the nervous system, for that I would say in the gut, and this is going to be a weird thing to say, it could be in the vocal cords. And the reason just being because, even for the digestive system, still the top part of the digestive system is the mouth. And part of the vagus nerve comes off and hits the vocal cords. There's a branch of it that comes off. And so sometimes the vocal cords can cause weird issues in the respiratory tract. Like it will mimic asthma, and then or like a shortness of breath and those kinds of things. But it also can cause dysfunction in the gut and sometimes in the thyroid. And so if you wanted to explore that, angelica, like inhaling it, but I'd probably take a couple of drops in water, or do the tincture, whichever one you have, and take it internally for a little bit while you're doing some other gut work. And Yeah, it will uh, it will help to re-educate that part, especially if it's an issue. But even if you just inhale the angelica without directing it, it makes the vocal cords expel. Like if you watch them, like or scan them and feel them, like there's a stress that just comes off the vocal cords. I mean, comes out of other areas too, but yeah,
So angelica root or angelica seed, doesn't matter.
either one. Yeah,
And either can be internal.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
the spagyric one, if I happen to
Just
have
whatever you
it.
got. Like I just rummage around. I'm sure you got something somewhere.
I know I have some angelica. I don't know about the spagyric. I'll have to look for that.
Yeah,
Uh,
if you just have the oil, just use the oil. Like you
Okay.
don't have to do like a specific kind. Any of it will work. The other thing that's kind of interesting about that, because if you look at the vocal cords, the part of the dysfunction there, if they are dysfunctioning, is they'll start drying out. Like, there's like a mucous membrane over them that, is how your voice does what it does and doesn't degenerate at a very rapid rate. And so it's very similar to the lubrication in your joints, like your bursa sacs or synovial fluid in your joints. It's very similar to that. So I would even say a step deeper into the autonomic dysfunction is it throws off lubrication of all the tendons and sheaths, especially in the joints, and can throw off how the synovial sacs function. And, the synovial fluid acts as like a little bit of a cushioning effect in like the knees and things like that, the back. And if that's off, you're going to be more prone to joint dysfunction and arthritis, just because of the autonomic nervous system being out of whack.
So, okay, angelica I get. Would you still then suggest nerve help like as an OR program?
Or program, and also I on the nerve help, I'd rub it all over your gut. Like I'd put like 5, 6 drops on your gut and just rub it in. I would say you could do it neat. I would put it on with a little bit of lotion or massage oil, like make an ointment. Put like 5, 6 drops in your hand, a little bit of massage oil, and then just rub it on the gut. Um, there's some things that an ointment, even over a body tonic, will work better for, and that's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned sage. How does that play into it?
Same as you would do the nerve help. Like nerve
Okay.
help is a whole bunch of sage with other things, but it's like a couple of different kinds of sage. And I mean, if you looked at the formula, it's like more than half is sage, different
Okay.
kinds of sage. Yeah.
Okay. Very
It's
good. I
got a
have to go.
fancy sage in it that I don't even put on the site.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good. I've been just in the last week, I've been doing a sage body tonic on my torso
Oh yeah. Super
using
good idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Australian sage. So, okay, so I may use nerve help just for the Auric program, keep using sage as the body tonic for now, and then do the Angelica internal or inhale.
Yeah. Yeah. I would just do it internal. Like you can do inhalation, but just taking 2 or 3 drops internal, maybe once or twice a day, that does the heavy lifting there. The only time that I would say that you need to do it maybe more topical is like if you have like irritated bursa sacs throughout the body, I would put Angelica directly on the area. I actually kind of make a blend, but it's 80% Angelica. So I mean, I don't think we put that one on. We have a bunch of things I never put on the site unless I'm just dealing with somebody with an issue.
Do you
But
know what it's
like
called?
uh I think it's vocal cord stress or something like that.
Okay.
It's really just what it is. Like I made it for, because the vocal cords are part of the vagal tone. And so sometimes you get a lot of the vagal tone good, but you still have spots. And so I try to go through and just follow the branch down and let's get it in all the different places. And that's one spot that's hard to get. So it took me a while to figure out that it was going to be Angelica. I tried a bunch of other things as I was all in my head about it, but Angelica is the thing that gets it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Experiment with that stuff and let me know how it does.
I am going to. I'm going
And
to
we'll
go
send
look
you
up-
some candy in the mail.
Oh, gee, thanks. I'm not going to tell you which kind I like.
Okay.
And then we have some chats, shares, questions still relate to ARC program, but if you have a question for regular Q&A, feel free to raise your hand now. And also feel free to type that into the chat, but I'm going to keep doing the ARC program and I'll let you know when we go into the other. Someone said, my jaws feel good, belly feels awkward / funny.
Maybe do another round of the Auric program. Like if something's feeling odd there, I'd keep pushing it to make the shift happen.
How long should a shower be avoided after programs, or is it irrelevant?
No, not an issue. I mean, your body's expelling it off. It's not like energy being projected. So your body is shifting and you go take a shower as soon as you're done.
I thought I got what Greg just said, but would like to double check. The front side is lungs, the back side is kidneys.
No, flip those.
Okay, so front side is kidneys,
Mhm.
back side is lungs. They're checking to see left side spleen,
Mhm.
right side liver.
Mhm.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
And we're going to go deeper into that when, here in just a little while. But if you guys want to start experimenting with it now, go for it. But there's other pieces to it, but that's a good place to experiment.
Great shares, great questions today, guys. And that does complete our week 13 ARC program for the digestive system. Next week, have your aloes handy because that
Ooh.
is going to be diminishing negative ARC programs next week. So number 14.
Oh, my favorite.
And then,
Aloes.
yes, one of your desert island. So that will just conclude that and go ahead and start us off to Jal, then Megan.
Hey, Jajal.
Hey Greg, thank you for all valuable information today. It's a lot of your share. So the two example which you have given today about the person, I can relate it with my shoulder pain.
Mhm.
And not this Sunday, but last Sunday, what you suggested, I'm doing the Sitka and everything. So like 2-3 days, pain will go away. Then suddenly again, it's coming up. And it was
Mhm.
very shooting pain. So I cannot bear it, but I have to take painkiller. Without that, I
Sure.
stay. So actually, what is going on with the shoulder? Because it's
It
now,
sounds like you have an impingement, which I think we talked about this last time, like a little piece of
yeah.
cartilage sticks out. So the more that you loosen up that shoulder girdle, but like if you're having a lot of body tension in general, like even like what we did today with the Auric program and the ANS support, you want to do things for vagal tone, you want to do things just to keep calming down that part of the nervous system. So even like the idea of using something like marjoram on that area, it's antispasmodic, but part of what the marjoram doing is it's helping to pull the body out of the glitch in flight and helping to restore proper like rest and repair mode. And you might want to try rotating them. I mean, vagal tone or spikenard, vetiver, something like that. But You have to be able to take the tension out of that. And it's not going to just be like a flip of the switch. You're going to have to like kind of recondition that shoulder so that the shoulder girdle itself starts to relax. And as it does that, it takes the pressure off the piece of cartilage. And so, try to get around on the backside, but in the front and, you know, like under the armpit, but like you're almost kind of reaching around trying to get the backside because there's even little muscles like on the side of the shoulder blade that you want to hit. Like if you keep treating that over a period of time, it should help. You can use different pain blends, you can use helichrysum, you can use spikenard, um, things that are antispasmodic and pain relieving.
Okay, so I have all the oils and
Huh?
any suggestion like when to use, and I'm doing exactly the way you have shown, like covering whole my shoulder, underarm and back, and sometimes whole back also I apply the oil. So any suggestion like during the day, like when should I use the
I do
marjoram
whatever
or
works in your
spikenard?
schedule, but I
Yeah.
would say for something like that, like I do a thing on my old surgery sites, and I do it in the morning and in the evening.
Okay, so
And
like two
you'll
different.
you'll get a better result. Body tonics can be good here, but I would say also some of the pain relieving stuff and the antispasmodic stuff, especially like things like helichrysum, I would put it in like lotion or a massage oil, like an ointment,
Okay.
because the dynamic of what happens in the body is very different than like a body tonic. And so when you're really trying to recondition an area like that, put it in like a fatty oil or like a lotion, and it holds the essential oils in that area for a longer period of time and will help affect a change at a much more rapid rate.
And these two, three oils like a pain relief and the vetiver, helichrysum, spikenard, and
Yeah,
marjoram, I
and
can
then just rotate
use
them.
different times. Like,
Yeah, yeah, like use one in the morning, use a different one
yeah.
at night. I really like the idea of rotating them because, you're not always hitting all the issues. And so when you kind of start rotating the different oils, it's like a more broad spectrum way of treating a particular area. Put helichrysum in
Yeah.
that cycle if you can, if you have. If not, just use other things that are in
I have that. And I really love marjoram. The first 2 days when
Yeah,
I
I know, huh?
applied, oh my God, I have
Yeah,
such a
feels so good,
beautiful
huh?
sleep.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't believe that
yeah,
this oil has made so much difference.
yeah.
And the
Good.
second question is, in which order I should use the scrub? Like I have helichrysum scrub, Aura,
Oh,
health,
just pick one and just work it that day. Yeah,
nothing like, so like every day I can use the different scrub or just
yeah, yeah.
and
Rotate them. Yeah,
rotate them, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll try to do this. And today's protocol also I can do now. I'm not doing adrenal support. I've stopped doing that. So do you have any other suggestion which protocol I can do it? Like out of this?
You could do the one for the nervous system with the nerve help.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
you're so welcome.
Yeah, bye.
And then go ahead, Megan, then Lolly.
Hey,
Hey, just want to get your updates, if there are any, on my protocol here. I've done from the realization class, the cardiovascular section a bunch of times, the respiratory a couple times, and one digestive and one urinary.
okay.
So maybe if you could scan and just see if I should keep doing that or something else.
How are you feeling?
Well, I haven't tested it out, but so this is what I was going to ask. I just want to know more about these shoulder minor chakras. You said a long time ago they're almost like heart minor chakras.
Oh,
And
here.
yeah, and my shoulders are so light now, like after doing that cardiovascular so much, and my whole
Yeah,
chest just feels like
yeah,
emptied
yeah.
out. And
Right.
I have had this for like 10 years where my
Yeah,
shoulders have so tight. Sometimes they just like the front of the shoulders would feel like really sore and tender and painful.
right.
And I'm like, okay, it's shoulder minor, and he said it's connected to the heart, but I would just do energy work all the time, and it never made much difference. And like now it's just like so loose and relaxed and empty. And yeah, it just feels like my whole chest cavity just got like emptied out.
So
I didn't feel that tension
I
in the heart. So I'm just like, wow.
right. So like in doing the protocol for the cardiovascular system from that class, part of what you're doing is you're taking stress out of that part of the nervous system of that system, right? And so you're basically shifting the vagus nerve as it has to do with the physical heart. And in doing so, like you said, it opens up the chakras. And, I suspect for myself that, I would feel things here, but also like if I do any breathing process, like if I take helichrysum and I do it on my shoulder blades, oh my God, it's like nuts. But if I go through and I do that protocol for the cardiovascular system, and then also from the Auric programming, the cardio support, like, kind of integrate that too if you wanted.
Yeah.
It just takes a bunch of tension on my body. And the weird thing is my mind gets so clear. Like it gets so clear. It's like, I wish meditation could do this. I don't have the clarity that I get when I unwind that whole cardiovascular system. And a lot of tension in the body is tied to either, an issue in the cardiovascular, the nerves of the cardiovascular system, the nerves of the respiratory system, the nerves of the gut, or the nerves of the urinary tract, and then also like the vocal cords and the sides of your neck. And there's even this little real thin muscle that runs like on each side down here. Actually, I take that back. I think it runs over the top. But even that can throw vagal tone off. And so the more that you keep unwinding that, the more that the energetic heart or the emotional heart opens up, but it takes a bunch of weird tension out of the body and it allows for more energy to move up towards the brain. And so I would say that my personal experience when doing the cardiovascular system is my body feels better. I recover faster. Like if I was like pushing and doing something hard and stressed out, like, when I was young, I could do it and I'd stop and I'd just recover. Getting older, I'm like, gonna have to sit down for a few minutes and just like let my nervous system shift. But like when I do that, I notice that even like weeks later, I can push myself, stop, and boom, I'm recovered and ready to go again. And so it does so many things, with the energy moving up towards the head, you're working the autonomic nervous system and the vagus nerve in the cardiovascular system. But when that energy moves up and it hits the brain, part of what you're starting to do is you're starting to also shift the central nervous system, which is the whole nervous system. And in the central nervous system is where like your cognitive functions are impacted. And so that clarity of mind means that issue that was a glitch here was causing a glitch in the whole entirety of the nervous system. And as it shifted, all of a sudden cognition became much more improved because you dealt with the lower levels glitches, but it made the central nervous system function better. And so, I mean, going back to like, the stresses or the phobias and reactions and to, like when you're going out in enclosed places and everything, again, there's a glitch somewhere in the nervous system. Usually the first place I would look for something like that is in the urinary tract, like the sex chakra, Ming Men, kidney, something in there, because that's a lot of the instinctual stuff. But when you're, going through and you're looking at all of this, part of the nervous system that has to do with the cardiovascular system still could be associated with anxiety, still could be associated with panic, still could be associated with those things, but also impacting the cognitive function. You start to make that right, and then you step back and you go, okay, now what's still being an issue? And then after that, you start going after those smaller things. But the big thing is, find the glitch somewhere in that nervous system, resolve it, and then step back and go, now what's going on?
Yeah. So really interesting. I tried the really simple protocol you gave for cardiac fatigue with
Uh-huh.
camphor maybe 2 weeks ago, and my whole body got warm, and then that actually did happen with the cardiovascular. I got so warm I almost broke a sweat for the first like 3 or 4 times I did that. But with the cardiac fatigue, it's just really short and simple. And the next day, I had to drive my daughter to this orthodontist appointment outside the neighborhood. And normally, whenever I leave West Seattle, you go over this big bridge and then you just like choose your highway from there. And there is this horrible tunnel in Seattle they created. It's underground, it's 2 miles long. If I was to accidentally exit onto 99 North, I could potentially get stuck on that. It's like my worst nightmare every time I leave the neighborhood.
Mhm.
So I hate even going to this appointment, even though it's south, there's almost 0% chance of me accidentally taking that exit, but it still bugs me so much. And after doing
Right.
this, I had no anxiety on the road.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so great for a change. I
Yeah.
was like, finally, I could just like do my errands, and I had to be that because I hadn't done anything else different.
Yeah.
And so I was
So
like, oh my God, the heart. I didn't.
this is what I would say about that though. So it's like great and amazing, but like keep treating it, because like right now you're like, oh, that's amazing. It feels so much better. But you'll acclimate to where it is. And then it's not that you backslide, it's that like now you're aware of more subtle things that can still be refined. So you know what's kind of worked, and you know some of the things to like look for, but keep working it until it's just gone. Like
Oh
just
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
I've done it lots of times since then too. So
yeah,
it's
good.
just
Good,
interesting.
good.
So when you said cardiovascular last week, I was like, oh, that actually makes sense because of that shorter one that I was doing. But
Right.
yeah, just I mean, I love how I feel already. So I'll test it out for next time too. But
That one's my jam as well. I
yeah.
love doing the cardiovascular system.
And my brain needs all the help it can get after
You
the
and me
babies
both.
and the sleep deprivation. I
Yeah.
I am still not the same like with my memory. And actually after ANS support today, I really felt like my mind just get like kind of more awake and happy and clear and stuff. So maybe I should weave that into everything too, just to keep the nervous system and the
Oh,
brain.
good. Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay.
And
Okay, well,
like a
I'll just
little
keep
bit of
saying.
basil or a little bit of rosemary internal would help the cognitive function even more.
Okay. Okay, I'll test it out for next week so I have
Good,
some
good.
more.
Yeah, good. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
that's working for you.
Yeah, it feels really good.
Good.
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Priya.
Hey, Lolly.
Hey, okay, so many things. So first of all, the class this weekend, it's really one of my favorites. It was so amazing, and my body, my mind, everything was just more relaxed and more clear and more, yeah.
Especially for you, like at one
Oh my
point,
God.
I asked Samantha, I go, is Lolly on? Because this one's going to be her jam. I can tell you right now.
That
Yeah.
was so good. So thank you. And I actually did the first part with the shields. I did that yesterday really quickly as I was doing like other things. I wasn't,
Sure.
but it still felt really good.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And even now, like the ANS support, like I don't understand how those simple things, I think half of the bottle just dropped all over me, like each
Right.
time.
Right.
And I don't even get it. I'm like, it's a simple process that, so thank you.
And the thing, we're always talking about vagal tone and that component, but the thing with ANS support, it's a very simple blend, but you have part of it increases the vagal tone, so rest, repair, and digest. And then you have, the fight, flight, and rest and repair like have to be relatively like balanced or equal so that they can kind of shift into each other. If one becomes excessive, you really can't shift back and forth like you should. So the rosemary is toning to the sympathetic part of the nervous system, right? So then you're toning the rest and repair, you're toning the sympathetic or the fight flight, which is action and activity as well. And then the anise balances the two. And so you have something that's stimulating each side, and then you have one that balances it. And so it, like you said, it's really simple, but like if you use it over a period of time, it will change your nervous system. I mean,
Yeah, and I also take
I
the
can't take credit for that. Like it is a French physician used to, he would test his patients and they put them on essential oils, and he would use pharmaceuticals too, but like at first he would always try to use like herbs and oils. And like over the years, he refined this down to just that simple little formula. And, he would treat his patients with it. And over a period of time, they would usually produce results.
Mm-hmm. So yes, I take that internally, and then I take the other oils even separately. So thank you. And then so a few follow-ups. So my eyes, they look slightly better,
Good.
which is great, but slightly better. So not like huge improvement. I'm still doing the same things. I don't know if there's anything else that kind of, I do feel my body overall feels stronger. My mind feels clearer. Even the last couple of nights, I even remembered my dreams more, which I asked about that last time. But still, so I don't know if there's anything else that, and I saw that you have Eyebright on the website as a new blend, and I remembered it a couple of weeks
No,
ago.
it's a single oil. It's an herb.
Yeah, so I
not a
remember
blend.
that a couple of weeks ago you said it doesn't look like it's really, like I don't really need that, and I'm wondering if it would be a good addition at this point, or
I mean, you could always try it. I can't remember what I was suggesting. I want to say it was golden seal.
yeah. So I've been on Golden Seal,
yeah.
and it's done, but I should get the new
I
one.
mean, Eyebright is used for like pink eye and when the eye is dry, and then like discharge, like
Yeah.
my eyes do that in the morning sometimes where I wake up and have to really clean my eyes. And then the potential for styes and things like that. And so I mean it wouldn't hurt, but I'm not sure that it will work or not.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
when I
it's
can see it and I know that it'll work, I'll go, maybe take that. This one I'm not sure. So that's why I hesitated.
yeah, and I'm not sure if it's gonna work specifically for what I've going on now, but I think for the health of my eyes, it could potentially. But yeah, I'm still doing Golden Seal, St. John's Wort, and all the other stuff we talked about, for the nervous system. Actually, ashwagandha also I was thinking about for my glands and everything, but so I don't know. It's really about being more patient. I mean, I'm not stressing out about it because I know it's gonna be fine without a procedure. I still have a good feeling about
If it's getting better, most likely you probably wouldn't need the procedure.
Yeah, and
I know
but
it's slow, but it's
yeah. So I don't know if there's anything that really jumps as another.
no, just the same stuff. Just keep doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
same stuff.
And I can try an Eyebright if I'm adding it, then you would do what, like once a day?
I do maybe a couple dropperfuls twice a day, maybe.
Okay.
You
I mean,
know,
my
I mean, if you're
stuff.
gonna do it, go for it.
Okay.
It's a super gentle herb. It's super.
Okay. And I'm open to try that. I mean, because even now, like I had a few days, even right now, one of the eyes is kind of doesn't feel great. And sometimes I get it, like they either too dry or too itchy or something. So I'm like, okay, we'll add that. Thank you. And then the other thing I want to follow up on, so I mentioned last week, and even when was it? Oh, I know I also feel better because of our session. Yes. So and then And then, so I mentioned, so I have this, when I wake up in the morning, so the back is a little bit painful, and I have this red mark on it's not really the back, it's like the top of my butt cheek, basically.
Okay.
You told me to use helichrysum, marjoram, and see if it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. I have days that I wake up just with a red mark, no pain. I tried even doing, so what I tried that I haven't done in a while, I did the lymphatic blend actually on my abdomen. I realized when I did that one day, the redness wasn't as much, but I don't know if there's a correlation.
I mean, it could be. I mean, if you
It's
experimented with something like that and would work.
it's
So, like, if you put it on the area and it didn't really resolve it, the next thing that I would probably do is still use those same oils, but put it on the spine instead of the spot.
okay.
Yeah.
It does feel, the other thing that's been happening that might be related probably is that I also, the last couple of days, I think since Saturday actually, I have, my lower back is itchy. And there's no redness. It's not a skin thing. It's the feeling I get is that it's all connected and it's all nerves, because it's
Yeah,
not
the red spot strikes me as like a dermatome thing, like where the nerve ends up, and so the nerve's being irritated somewhere. So itchiness doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
so
That's why I'd
and
like try the spot, the putting it on the spine.
okay, just still
Yeah.
do helichrysum, not do any of the nerve blends.
Do helichrysum and then try also marjoram, like separately.
Okay, but
Yeah.
none of the nerve blends, like
I would
no.
start with the helichrysum and the marjoram. Like they're both pretty good about taking some pressure off the spine, the spinal muscles, and so reducing some of the pressure on the spinal nerve. But if it's what I suspect, that's why I was having you treat the spot. I wanted to see if it would respond, and that it's not really responding a whole bunch. Most likely, it's a thing in where the nerve is either being impinged as it comes out of the spine, or there's an entrapment somewhere that's compressing the nerve. And so by the time it hits the skin, it has, an irritation, but the problem's probably deeper. Yeah.
Okay, so that and and either one of these you think might just
I would rotate between the two of them.
okay,
Yeah.
and then do the entire spine like once a day kind of thing and see if
Yeah,
it
once or
does.
twice a day. I mean, sometimes when like one of my spots is bothering me, I have a hard time keeping it to once or twice a day. Like every time I get a break and I'm at home, I'm like rubbing something on it. And
Oh yeah, that's for
so
sure.
I'd say go for it.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
ointment is fine, right?
Ointment would be preferred, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the itchiness, is there anything? Because the red
The
spots I
same
don't.
treatment, like if it's what I
It should,
suspect, yeah, like I would say
because
that
the
would
itchiness
probably help. Yeah.
is really annoying. I mean, the red spot is there, disappears.
So when a nerve is compressed a lot, it goes to sleep. When it's compressed like medium, it gets irritated and agitated and starts firing more. And so itchiness would be the byproduct of that. Like itchiness and little like fibrillations, like how you get little tweaks,
Yeah.
twitches in the area. Yeah, would be.
Because even the pins and needles, I paid attention.
Mhm.
So even the pins and needles that came up the last couple of days feels like it's all just connected together.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So then would working the urinary tract
Would definitely
would
help.
help. Okay.
I don't think it will be the thing that resolved it, but I would definitely put it in the mix just because it does take tension out of the psoas and some of the lower little rotating muscles along the spine, and
Okay.
especially the lumbar. And so
Yeah.
I would definitely put that in the mix.
Okay.
You're doing so much that, I always say this is like, hey, I don't want you to like have
Yeah.
breakfast of herbs and vitamins and oils and like that's your meal. Like
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel you need to do crazy amounts of things, but I mean, you're taking what you were doing on the hip and just moving it now a bit more to the spine, and that should be helpful.
Okay.
I mean, you stand most of the day, or you sit
I
most of
just
the
stay
day?
down a lot.
Okay.
I do a lot of
'Cause I was
computer
gonna say, if
stuff.
you're standing, we might even have to look at like some of the muscles and things in your legs. But let's right now
Recent,
just stick with the spine. Yeah,
and I do
especially since you're
marjoram. Okay, and I tend to do marjoram on my legs actually a lot.
good.
But no, I end up sitting actually a lot. Even like on the weekends when I do the classes with you, I'm like I'm sitting, you know, I'm just I need to move my body more. And then even with the oils I'm taking internally, I've been kind of trying to maybe kind of alternate a little bit, like
Good.
just to I like how you explained it the other day, like you're kind of confusing your body in a way.
Yeah, yeah. You're
So
not letting it like micromanage you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I cannot get too comfortable, so I kind of like
yeah.
that option as well. So really, if really you're alternating, which leads to another question they did. If you're really alternating things you're taking even internally, how would you do that? Like, would you do like a week on, week off? Would you do a few weeks or?
Yeah, I mean, you could do it structured, but a lot of times I'll do for a couple of days I'll do one, and then another day I'll do something else, and then
And
I kind of what I do is ride the wave. And so when I feel like if it's something that I can feel, I'll treat it until I feel like it kind of plateaus a little bit, and then I'll shift
Mhm.
to something else. So it might be a day, it might be a week. And then when I feel it starting to plateau, because it's not always like a physical sensation, it might be I have more energy, my brain is working better, I'm
Mhm.
more animated, I'm sleeping better. You know, I take into all those factors, and then when it kind of plateaus, then I shift to something different. Like I
And
keep trying to make like improvements. Like, because if you think of
okay.
when we're trying to treat symptoms, we're trying to get it like everything was good. I'm trying to get it back there. And that is feeding into the dysfunction. Like
Mhm.
you're needing to constantly keep evolving it out of whatever was going on. And so it's not about trying to get it back to where it was. It's like whatever is going on in the body, even if there's injuries, you're trying to evolve it out of something to like being closer to like its normal resting self, you know.
Yeah.
And so that idea of rotating things kind of helps with not like falling into a rut or just doing the same thing over and over again, or the body starts going, well, you're taking nettle all the time, we don't have to work that hard in that area. Like you don't
Okay.
want the body to go, well, you're doing this, so I don't have to work as hard. Like we'll pull back on that area. You just keep mixing it up, you know. And
Okay.
it,
Makes
it never
sense.
knows what's going to happen. And so
Mhm.
even the schedule, I mean, it's like it's a template, but I would say being aware of your body and like watching how it improves or plateaus, you are practicing awareness and you're breaking out of that repetition even by the approach. Like
Mhm.
the
Yeah, I love
approach
that. Yeah.
itself is breaking you out of a loop. And so
Mhm.
is as much as it's not just about rotating it, but you're rotating it and you're going, okay, how do I feel in my body? Where do I feel it? What do I notice? Like, you're doing all those things. Even that is breaking you out of those loops.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. Okay. And then real and for stuff that you're taking, let's say I'm taking, more like long-term type of things like the cholesterol
Mhm.
support or stuff like
Mhm.
that, you would also still kind of take like maybe a few days break type of thing and then go back to that.
Yeah, you could, or you can mix it up. Like cholesterol sport's a good one. I mean, you could take that one for a while, but like still, you can mix it up with like a little helichrysum or something else, a little
Okay.
carrot or
Okay, so
um,
switch things that are
yeah,
doing
just mix it
similar
up. Not
things.
not very much, but just from
Okay.
time to time, like
Mm-hmm.
you just throw the body a curveball and keep it on its toes.
Okay, I like that. And then basically still treating what you want to treat, just
Yeah.
kind
Oh
of
yeah.
mixing it with different things, which
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
kind of forces me to think of like, okay, what else can I put in there? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I
And
like that.
another one, like with cholesterol, peppermint's not necessarily a thing that you would use for cholesterol, but peppermint will jumpstart the liver to detox to a higher degree. And so, like, you could be going through and you're doing cholesterol support and you're doing a little helichrysum's very good for cholesterol as well. Carrot seed somewhat, Greenland moss somewhat, but like Google, helichrysum, and then the cholesterol support are like the big hitters, right? And so, but even there, you could take a little break and do peppermint for like a couple of days and jumpstart the liver to like detox, to like shift and start detoxing itself and then go back to those. And then it would make those potentially work better.
Okay, thank
You
you.
know, I
And
wouldn't
then,
do it for super long periods of time, but like, 2-3 days. The only thing with peppermint that I would say is just don't do it a couple hours before you go to bed.
yeah, I remember.
Because you relax the sphincter in the stomach, and stomach acid will go up the esophagus. But as long as it's like 2 or 3 hours, no later than 2 or 3 hours before bed, you're good. I would.
And then something really like the adrenal support or like the frankincense and myrrh, just alternate some of the oils that are in the blends as well, if you're kind of rotating things.
What are you trying to do with those?
Like, let's say because adrenal support, I'm taking that as well, like for a while.
Yeah, I would take it for a few days and then give yourself a break for a day or two and then a few more days. And, sometimes I put it something on topically. Sometimes I do the inhalation, like even the delivery. I like to mix even that up.
Okay. Yeah, because even like when I do the rosemary that I put on my wrists, and sometimes I take it internally, and
Right.
Oh, and I love the white pine. So.
Oh yeah, isn't it nice?
Yes, and you even mentioned that on the weekend, and I didn't realize that it was doing so much for the mind as well. So
it's I really think it's because of what it does to the adrenals. But I was working it every day for I don't know, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I noticed like my cognitive function has gone up. And I didn't think it was bad until I started using the white pine, and I was like, ugh. Apparently I need to just step my game up a little bit, yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. When I got that white pine, I started playing with some of the other pines that like black pine and dwarf pine, and there's some other pines that are the black pine and the dwarf pine are really good pain relievers, as far as pine is concerned. So I'm starting to think that it's different, but how we use galbanum to manage pain, that black pine, I think, is in the vein of that. It's like a little different, but it's still in the vein of that. Yeah. I made myself up a weird blend last night with black pine and like helichrysum and stuff, and I was like, I don't know, might have to develop a black pine blend for my body. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I'm excited to try that too. So yeah, well, thank you so much. I'll just keep doing the things, and I'll add the Eyebright, and hopefully good news soon. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Priya, then Ralph.
Hey, Priya.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Wow. So, apart from a couple of small things, overall, I've been productive. I've been creating.
Oh, tremendous.
There has been more balance. I have been more present a little bit, and I have been doing things. I feel like some of the inner resistances are sort of released.
Oh, good.
Like I'm pushing my limits and I feel like pushing is not the right word, because I see that I'm just doing things differently. Like
you're I mean, that is more of the intuitive mind. Like Like even like how you were starting to say it and then you caught yourself, like, like exploring the boundary or pushing the boundary or the whatever, the normal way of doing things. And then you're like, well, I'm not really doing it. It's just I'm doing things. The repetition is the intellectual part of the mind. But when you just start doing things, that is the intuitive part of the mind, and that's learning, evolving out of a situation, innovating, healing, even expressing. Expression can come from both sides, but expressing from the intuitive mind is very different than the left side. And part of that expression is also artistic expression. And so, you know, practicing the steps of like, okay, when I mold this, this clay, or when I paint something, you're kind of focusing on practicing the techniques. That's a little bit of intuition and probably a lot of intellect. But then when you go, okay, throwing the rules out the window, and now I'm going to create, I'm just going to go for it. That is purely intuition. And it's
That's
a
how I
lot
have
like a runner's high, like, like an athlete exercising to where they get into this like expanded state. It's for an artist, it's just like throwing the rules out and just, let's create.
Oh my God, that's exactly how
Yeah.
I have been in the last few
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
And it feels so good.
Yeah.
I
Good for
have,
you.
I
It's very
have been,
healing. It's very healing.
I can't even put in words for how comfortable. And I know that, there's still lots of work being done, and healing is a long journey. I've
Mhm.
started to realize that this is never gonna end. I'm gonna go deeper and deeper and deeper, and there's
Mhm.
gonna be more and more and more. But I feel more in my body in the last few days.
Tremendous. That is so tremendous. I'm so happy for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, to the point where now if I'm doing the body awareness practice,
Hmm.
whereas previously I would be like, yeah, I can feel it in my legs, but it's becoming a little bit more specific. It's my calves, it's
Oh,
my
good. That's also a very good sign. Yeah.
it's my glutes, it's my
Right.
psoas. It's these three parts that are the most sort of uncomfortable. But I wouldn't say that I've been able to just, boom, expand out of it. But I sit with it a few times a day, and I can feel that um, I'm not, even though I'm not expanding, but I can feel that I am going towards that direction a little bit, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
You're breaking out of those loops. That's a great way of saying it. Yeah.
Is there anything I can do with the oils to
Yeah.
target these spots?
Do you did I can't remember. Did you get the power realization kit?
I did.
Okay. Do the urinary system.
Done.
Yeah. Just keep doing that over and over again. Yeah.
I will. Oh my God, I am excited.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, and the biggest plus was the consistency. Yes, there were emotions coming up, and there were
Yeah.
things coming up, and I was just jotting them down that, these are the things for me to discuss. But overall, I could feel that no, there is still a kind of balance that I have not seen in a very long time.
Good. Very good.
I am very, very, very grateful.
Good. Oh, you're so kind. But it's going to keep getting even better than where it's at now. Like it's not just it's like it's going to keep going and going and going. And there'll be times where you have like a bunch of progress, and then it's normal to go, okay, now got to get used to it. And then you'll have more progress, and then you'll have to get used to it. And so, it's kind of even like the opposite way of saying what I was saying. I think it was the lolly, where you have like healing, and then you kind of get acclimated to it, and then you kind of plateau and you go, okay, now what? It's just like meditation. You have expansion, and then you come back in your body. You have healing, you have spontaneous movement, but then it's still going to come back to repetition. the repetition is always going to be there. But every time you have that expansion, you keep changing that repetition. Like it's then like, okay, this is the new Priya. This is the new things that I do. And, even though things might pull you back into it a little bit, like every time you have that healing expansion, when you come back to like, okay, now let's acclimate to this, it'll be a little bit more of an upgrade every time. And so the expansion is good, but you want to see like, okay, when we come back and we've assimilated that and we're looking at the repetition, like how do I feel now? Right. And you just keep going out and in. I mean, that's literally divine intelligence, expansion, assimilation, expansion, assimilation. And when I talk about like healing or learning or even like an artistic expression, whatever version of that, that's what it is. It's expansion, assimilation, expansion, assimilation, expansion, assimilation. And you're just kind of riding like this, like creative wave, be it that you're learning something, you're innovating, you're breaking a pattern, you're healing some physical or psychological thing, or you're like in this case, you're are expressing artistically. And so you're just riding the wave, There's always going to be a like, but when the expansion comes to every time you try to like keep expanding it more. And when the assimilation comes, it's like you're dragging that expansion back into the form. And then it's like, then I go a little bit farther out and then bringing it back in. By doing that, you'll change the form. You'll totally change the form. And the form could be the body, could be your thought processes, it could be the emotional patterns, but you're changing the form.
I love
And
it.
you're doing it. Just keep doing the things you're doing. You're doing it.
The more the nervous system feels calmer, the more I have started to feel like I can be a little, I see myself being a little bit more present with the nervous system
I would say
being.
the last 4 or 5 weeks, you've been very different. Yeah. Like in a good way.
That's good. Thank you. And I
Yeah.
can feel it also. It's
Yeah.
wonderful, especially
Yeah.
the risk taking. I'm seeing that with my paintings, I'm doing things that I always wanted to do, but I
Right.
never believed that I could. And it was
Right.
just my own limitations. Nobody was putting it on me. And now it's not like I had to talk myself out of it. I just go for it.
Right. Beautiful. Yeah.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, I'm happy for you.
Thank
Good.
you so much. I'll work the power of realization, the urinary system one for the glutes and the legs and stuff.
Good. I mean, eventually that will change, but for right now, that's the one to work.
Yeah, done.
And then go ahead, Ralph, then Robert.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Greg. First off, black cumin, is that a fairly thick oil?
Yeah.
Okay, because when I try to pour it out of the bottle, it doesn't seem to come out very fast.
Yeah. You can try heating it. I mean, it is like kind of thick.
Okay. Well, if it's thick to begin with, that kind of answers my question.
Yeah.
I just need to be
Like
patient.
like the bottle caps, and the reducer cap, it's always like if the thin oils come out too fast, then you use a smaller one, but then it makes the thicker oils come out really slow. And if you make it good for the thicker oils, then it makes the thin oils come out really fast.
Oh,
And
I just
so,
need to get out my wire drill set and drill the hole out.
yeah,
So I'm okay.
sometimes I've taken like a paper clip and straightened it and like opened up that hole a little bit more.
Yeah.
Also, you could take like do you have any of the pipettes?
Yes.
So the pipette, do we have a pipette real close?
I could go. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna go run and get one.
I can do the pipette thing. I know what that trick is.
And like it fits in the top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe I'm
Or
going to
I just take the plastic plug out and just stick the
right.
pipette right into
Stick
the
your thumb
oil.
in and pop it off. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Other thing, I have a bottle of Three Wise Men that I've apparently had for a while because it got solid, so I stuck it in boiling water to get it loose. And it got loose enough to be barely pourable, but as soon as it got cold, it solided up again.
Heat it up and get it like kind of liquid like that, and then add like a little bit of like grain alcohol or like a little olive oil or something to like mix it with so that it
Okay.
doesn't harden up. Yeah.
Okay. So I can use olive oil on it because we
Yeah.
got olive oil in the kitchen.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
just for
Cool.
everybody, like you know how to do it, but so for the ones that don't, like so this is called a pipette, and then you have the reducer cap. And so what you can do is you can stick it in the top, like compress it, stick it in the top, and then you can undo it and it will suck a bunch of oil out, and then you can, put drops in. And then don't squirt it in very fast, just squirt it in really slow and it will go back in. But like this one's solid as well. Like it's a thing that there's certain oils like mimosa or this is orris that it's never liquid. Like you always
Okay.
have to heat it to work with it.
Okay, thanks. I didn't know the olive oil trick, but I'll definitely use it on my
Yeah,
Three
just
Wise Men.
put something in it that just will help keep it liquid.
Okay, just put a
Yeah.
few drops in and
Yeah, like probably, maybe 5 or 10 drops or something, and then, see if that works. And if not, sometimes you gotta even add more. But, the longer that things that are resinous or thick, like frankincense, myrrh, what's another one? Benzoin will do that sometimes.
okay.
But
So the frankincense and myrrh may be subject to the same situation.
yeah, I started getting a different myrrh. Like there's a myrrh that comes out of Ethiopia that it's a lot more expensive, but it stays pourable longer.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it still will harden, but it just takes a bit longer to do. But that's the trick is you just boil in water. Because like even when they distill those things, I mean, they have to heat the crap out of frankincense or myrrh to get the extraction. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just resiny and heavy and thick, but I
Yeah.
have a
At
couple
one
kilos
point,
of
I
them.
ran across some frankincense crystals, and looking at the frankincense crystal off of the tree, I can just begin to imagine
Oh
how
yeah,
much trouble
yeah,
it
they're
is
just
to make
yeah,
that into an oil.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Even doing alcohol extractions, it's really hard. Like
Yeah.
copal's the same way, or copal, however you say it.
Copal.
It's the same. Last
Yep.
time I was in Mexico, I got about 5 kilos of copal, and I brought it back with me. It's hard to work with.
Okay, good. Well, thank you.
Here's how.
And then go ahead, Robert, and then Brenda.
Hey,
Hey, back again. I noticed Eyebright on the site and I had
Mhm.
some questions about it. It talks about it's a tincture, so I assume it can be used internally.
it just internal. Yeah, you
Just
just
internal. Okay.
yeah.
Because something on the site said about using it as an eye rinse. Let
Oh,
me see.
not a tincture. That's like a herb. We should probably take that off.
Oh,
That's
Brenda, thanks
probably
for catching
that was from my old notes. So
Okay, because there's a couple things like that. I wasn't sure, so I thought I'd
yeah,
ask.
yeah,
Okay, that's it.
yeah. We'll
Thanks.
take that out. Yeah, yeah.
And then go ahead, Brenda.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, hey.
I am using helichrysum tonic on my right leg.
Okay.
And something you'd suggested in the past. And sometimes it feels like it needs a little bit more, so I'll put helichrysum oil on it. But as you were talking about rotating, I thought, I need to ask Greg about what I need to rotate with it.
What were we treating? I don't remember.
Scar tissue from a hip replacement.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so what I've had happening recently is a knee tightening and reacting. And so I've done, what was that oil I've been putting on it? I don't have it right in front of me, but I'd been
So,
something yarrow to
okay,
decrease the inflammation.
okay.
And then this last week, I've had incredible pain on the side. Saw my acupuncturist.
The side of your leg or the side of your knee?
Side of my leg from knee up, and I saw that my chiropractor first. He said my hips were rotated. Then when I left his office, my gallbladder started aching. I saw my acupuncturist later, and she said she went up and down all my gallbladder points on the side of my leg. So that's been happening. It's better now, but it still feels like sometimes my leg wants to give out, or is things tighten up deep inside.
So when you say your leg feels like it wants to give out, like you're standing and it feels like you're going to lose weight, like you're, or
When I walk, I feel that, not when I'm standing.
just when you're walking?
Yes,
And does it feel like the whole leg's going to give out or the knee's going to buckle?
not the knee.
Okay.
It's
So the issue, so with the side of your leg, that is the outer part of the quadricep, but it's also the IT band. But the issue with and this happens usually prior to the hip replacement is you'll start feeling that. But the insertion site for the quadricep is up like at the top of your leg, but on the front.
yes.
Like, it's like, so you're just below that crease.
Mhm.
And the issue is actually right up there, like right below the crease, like
Okay.
almost like center your leg, even though the pain is off on the side, but that
Okay.
leg wanting to give out or
Yes.
something like that. So I would say rub something all the way down from the top to the knee, like right down the
Right.
middle.
Yep.
That's not so much for the pain on the side, but you're just trying to unwind that quadricep. But like up towards the crease, like if you kind of poke around, like, put some massage oil on there with the helichrysum, take your thumb and just kind of massage it a little bit. Let me give you a picture because I think that's going to be an easier way to do this. Um, uh,
And I was wondering if I should rotate with orange healer or something else.
let me think about that for a minute.
And with the Auric program oil we did today, it lightened up in there for a little bit in a really different way. It was really fascinating.
Yeah, isn't it weird how the body's so interconnected?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, give me just a second. I'm gonna send this over to.
Just one second, I'll post it. I'll share with the group so you can see. And then I'll also post it in the chat, the picture, so you can save it potentially, so. Pictures up.
Okay, so you kind of see where that X is.
Yes.
Start like go all the way up to the crease and just like take your thumb and just like rub some oil like down the whole leg, and then take your thumb and just go like this, just all the way down the front of your leg from that crease all the way down to the top of the knee, but
Yes.
try to follow in that area of the where the X is. Like,
Okay.
you don't need to go too far in, too far out, but just go straight down that spot. But that muscle, you see where the X is up kind of high?
Yes.
That's what's making your leg want to give out. It's
Okay.
exactly what that is. And very common, it's usually when somebody has like a hip issue or a hip replacement, there's so many things that you're dealing with, the pain and the surgery and all that. This usually falls a little bit under the radar until it becomes like a big problem, but it is a little bit of an issue for people with a hip issue. And so, the treatment is it's not even like a leg strength thing. It's just that trigger point locks that muscle up so that it becomes hard for that leg to bear weight. And so you're just trying to massage that out. And if you start kind of digging with your thumb or, use like a little, I like the idea of the thumb because you can kind of feel and palpate. But
Yes.
yeah. So
Okay. And helichrysum with
yeah, just do helichrysum or marjoram. Yeah, stick
Okay.
with that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I can
Okay,
do
you
that.
guys, we got to jump over to the Stara prayer petition blessing. If you want to join us for a little 15-minute thing, and if you still have questions that we didn't get to, feel free to email us, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. But thanks for hanging out tonight. We have the study group tomorrow night for the psychic protection and free class this weekend. So join us if you can. So.
I posted the link there in the chat, but I do have to get Greg over.